My name is Andrew Aaron, Jr. I'm a resident of Gardena and has been a resident of Gardena since the early 1970s. I'm not a California native, but I've been in California since my high school days. The high school I went to was Jefferson High School. And after leaving Jefferson High School, we moved to the west part of Los Angeles for a few years, and then we moved into Gardena in the 1970s. After Jefferson High School, I went into the military, which was in 1948. So in other words, I was one of the occupational troops of World War II. I finished high school early at the age of 16. I was one of the, I don't know if I was bright or just lucky. I was a young kid. My mother signed for me to go in the military because I didn't want to go to college. So she said, well, you either go in the military or you go to college. So I went into the military. Most of the young men that was in high school with me, they all enlisted in the military anyway. I was later shipped to Japan and was in the 24th Infantry Regiment, which was one of the original Buffalo Soldier regiments. When World War II broke out, that's when they reorganized the 92nd Infantry Division. They sent them to North Africa, and it was in France and Europe during World War II. They were outstandingly awarded for their participation. After the Second World War, they was in the occupation of Japan. That's when I joined them, in the occupation of Japan in 1948.
One of the great advantages of Army service is the opportunity for travel to far-off lands. The American serviceman has a serious job to do overseas, but off-duty time often finds him enjoying his stay almost as if he were a tourist.
Japan, the Japanese people was very humble people. They accepted us extremely well. In fact, a lot of my comrades got married over there. Where we were stationed at, the 24th Infantry Regiment was stationed at, the larger town was Gifu, and the little town we was right outside of Gifu was Naka, Japan. That's where we were, Naka, Japan. And we got along extremely well. In fact, we got along so well till when some of the men was leaving out to go to Korea, some of the people, they was laying on railroad tracks, they didn't want us to leave. And they had to stop the train and get them off the track so that the train can take the troops out of there. That's how well they did love us in Japan. So at least they had to have some love anytime they didn't want us to leave to go to Korea for the Korean War. That's when I won the championship in 1949, welterweight championship. This one was in Japan. Aiko tournament, 25th Infantry Regiment boxing tournament. They so old they start tearing apart. That's why I stopped facing them like that. This picture was taken back in 1949. That's long before you were born. The Tropical Lightning, that was the 25th Infantry Division. They called it the Tropical Lightning. You see, this is it right here, the emblem of it, the Tropical Lightning. That's it right there. See, Tropical Lightning. And Levi, he was killed. He got the Distinguished Service Cross. He was my buddy, though. He got killed in Korea. Levi. I was a young fellow there, 48, 49, and 50 when the war broke out in Korea. They called me back to the 24th Infantry Regiment. That was in 1950. And I was in Korea from 1950 until April of 1952. But we didn't think it was going to be a war. We thought it was going to be something like a police action. We go over there and push them back across the 30 parallel, and then we come back to Japan. But then we got over there with a full-scale war. It lasted for almost 3 years. So it was unpredicted. This is the one that was taken, that's the prison camp behind it, POW Camp in Korea. And that's me and Hayes. He was from Pennsylvania. We just came back taking the PWs to the prisoner of war camp. Most of these men was killed in Korea. That was their wives. They had married those girls. That's the ship I came back on. You see me on that? Anyway, it was time that I guess that President Truman said it's time to integrate, to have black troops and white troops. He said we're just going to integrate them all. I remember it was integrated in 1951. We looked at each other for 2 days, and after 2 days, we said, "Hey, you got some toothpaste? You got some soap?" We forgot about anything like that. You know, we was just one army.